languages does your Africa correspondent speak? French, English, that's all. Swahili, Hausa, Yoruba, Amharic, they don't know. They can't talk to the people. Your sources are always the same. Western diplomats, NGOs, experts, and then you come and lecture us. They killed Patrice Lumumba, January 12, 1961. CIA agent Larry Devlin confessed. Belgian mercenaries executed. They dissolved his body in acid, took his teeth as souvenirs. In 2022, that tooth was returned from Belgium to his family after 61 years. And what did you say then? Chaos in Congo. You didn't ask about the killers. You didn't investigate CIA documents. You didn't write about Belgium's crime. They killed Thomas Sankara, October 15, 1987. My hero, Africa's hope. Vaccinated 2.5 million children against measles and meningitis, planted 10 million trees, raised literacy rate from 13% to 73%, gave equal rights to women, banned FGM, ended corruption, sold Mercedes cars, used Renault 5, rejected IMF and World Bank. And most importantly, he said, we will not pay Africa's debts. We didn't make those debts. The puppets before us made them on behalf of colonizers. That's when he had to be killed, and they killed him. Who killed him? His best friend, Blaise Compaoré, with whose support? France. Want proof? Look at the Focart archives. Jacques Faucard, France's Africa Affairs advisor. Everything is written there. And what did you say? Military coup in Burkina Faso. You didn't write about Sankara's dreams. You didn't tell about his projects. You didn't show his successes. You just said, another dictator died, Muammar Gaddafi. Yes, he was a dictator. Yes, he was ruthless. But what had he done in Libya? Per capita income $12,000, Africa's highest, literacy rate from 25% to 87%, life expectancy from 51 to 74. Free healthcare, free education, $50,000 for newlyweds, interest-free loans for home buyers, $5,000 for new births, gasoline 14 cents per liter, great man-made river, irrigation project to green the desert, and Gaddafi's real crime, dream of United States of Africa, African Central Bank project, African Investment Bank, African Monetary Fund, and most dangerous, gold dinar, refusing to sell oil for dollars. October 20, 2011, lynched in Sirte, Hillary Clinton laughed. We came, we saw, he died. Now look at Libya. 3 different governments, endless civil war, ISIS, Al-Qaeda running wild slave markets exist. Even CNN showed in 2017, oil being looted, weapons depots emptied, spread across Sahel. Do you call this democracy? Do you call this freedom? Do you call this success? And whose turn is it now? The Sahel, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso. You want to make us Libya too. You want to make us Syria. You want to make us Iraq. But not this time, because we've awakened, because we've learned, because we've united. Operation Barkhane, France's Sahel adventure, 2013-2022. Official purpose, fighting terrorism. Real purpose, resource control, 5 through 100 French soldiers. €1 billion annual budget. Or free healthcare, free education, €1 billion annual budget. Or free healthcare, free education, $50,000 for newlyweds, interest-free loans for home buyers, $5,000 for new births, gasoline 14 cents per liter, great man-made river, irrigation project to green the desert, and Gaddafi's real crime, dream of United States of Africa, African Central Bank project, African Investment Bank, African Monetary Fund, and most dangerous, gold dinar, refusing to sell oil for dollars. October 20, 2011, lynched in Sirte, Hillary Clinton laughed. We came, we saw, he died. Now look at Libya. 3 different governments, endless civil war, ISIS, Al-Qaeda running wild slave markets exist. Even CNN showed in 2017, oil being looted, weapons depots emptied, spread across Sahel. Do you call this democracy? Do you call this freedom? Do you call this success? And whose turn is it now? The Sahel, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso. You want to make us Libya too. You want to make us Syria. You want to make us Iraq. But not this time, because we've awakened, because we've learned, because we've united. Operation Barkhane, France's Sahel adventure, 2013-2022. Official purpose, fighting terrorism. Real purpose, resource control, 5 through 100 French soldiers. €1 billion annual budget. What's the result? 2013, 500 terrorists in Mali. 2022, 5,000 plus terrorists in Sahel. 10-fold increase. What kind of success is this? But what were French soldiers doing? Protecting Niger's uranium mines for Areva, Orano, securing oil pipelines for Total, controlling ports and railways for Bolloré, and fighting terrorism? No, the opposite. Terrorists couldn't come within 50 kilometers of French soldiers, but they could easily burn our villages. Why? Because chaos served their purposes. If there's chaos, they could stay for security reasons. MINUSMA, UN peacekeeping force. In Mali, 15,000 soldiers, 1.2 billion annual budget. 10 years, result, 300 plus. UN soldiers died. Thousands of civilians died. Terror didn't decrease, it increased. And now you say Wagner is dangerous. Russians are taking over Africa. Wagner came. 1,000 soldiers. What happened in 6 months? Terrorists fled. Villages are safe. Mines are working. People are at peace. What's the difference? Wagner is an ally we invited. France is an occupier who came by force. Wagner follows the agreement. France blackmails. Wagner brings results. France produces excuses. But you don't write the truth. You say Russian mercenaries. Well, what is French Légion étrangère? Aren't they mercenaries? What is American Blackwater Academy? What is British G4S? What is Israeli Black Cube? They are security companies. Wagner is a threat. Why? Because Wagner isn't yours. And the terrorism issue? Who created this terror? Who founded Al-Qaeda? 1980s, Afghanistan, CIA, Pakistan ISI, Saudi money, against Soviets. Bin Laden was CIA's man. You called them freedom fighters. Who supported Taliban? Again, you. Heroic mujahideen against Soviet occupation. You gave weapons, gave money, gave training, then you lost control. How was ISIS 2003, Iraq invasion? You toppled Saddam, you disbanded the army, you banned Ba'ath Party, you tortured in Abu Ghraib, and those people became ISIS. Then Syria. You said Assad must go, you said moderate rebels, you gave weapons. Those weapons went to ISIS, went to al-Nusra, you destroyed Libya. Who looted Gaddafi's weapon depots? Where did those weapons go? To Mali, to Niger, to Burkina Faso, to Nigeria, to Chad? Who strengthened Boko Haram? In 2009, Nigerian police killed their leader Mohammed Yusuf. Extrajudicial execution. What did you say? Nothing. Where were your human rights organizations? Silent. Then revenge started. Boko Haram radicalized. But where did they find weapons? From Libya that you destroyed. And now you come to lecture us about fighting terrorism. You're helping us clean up the monsters you created? No, we've seen the game now. Terror is your Trojan horse. You come with the excuse of terror, you stay, you exploit. But it's over now. We'll provide our own security, we'll fight with our own methods, and we'll win. Because we are the children of this land. We know this land, we know these people. We can distinguish terrorist from villager. We don't fight from drones, from satellites, from 10,000 kilometers away like you. And we're winning. In Mali, in Niger, in Burkina Faso, terror is ending. Villages are safe. People are hopeful. Because now our own army, our own police are fighting, not for foreigners, but for the people. But you can't digest this. You say democratic backsliding. You say human rights violations. Which democracy? Which human rights? How many people are detained without trial in Guantanamo? What happened in Abu Ghraib? Who did you kill in Bagram? Who did you torture in CIA's black sites? Why is Julian Assange in prison for exposing your war crimes? Why did Chelsea Manning spend years in prison for leaking the truth? Why is Edward Snowden a fugitive for revealing you spy on everyone? And you lecture us about human rights. How many civilians died in your drone strikes? You say collateral damage and move on. How many weddings did you strike in Pakistan, Yemen, Somalia? How many schools did you bomb? How many hospitals did you burn? And you teach us the laws of war? Look, I come from war. I know the front. I've seen death. I've carried wounded soldiers. I've consoled mothers of martyrs. And I tell you, a real soldier protects his people. A real soldier doesn't harm civilians. A real soldier fights with honor. Your mercenaries, your drone pilots, your special forces, they're not soldiers, they're killers. They kill people by pressing buttons from 10,000 kilometers away, then go home and play with their children. We don't fight like that. We look our enemy in the face. We protect civilians. We fight with our honor. We die with our honor. And we'll win. Because the righteous win. Because those who fight with their people win. Because those who fight for their land win. Let's return to your media. I know how you work. I have friends who work within the system. There are journalists with conscience, but they stay silent. Why? Because the system silences them. Those who write the truth get fired. Investigative journalists are laid off due to budget cuts. Dissenting columnists are shown the door because reader interest has declined. And what replaces them? Experts from think tanks, NGOs, universities, all saying the same thing, all defending the same thesis. West is good, Africa is bad. So who are these experts? Where do they get their funding? National Endowment for Democracy, NED, American Democracy Exporter, CIA's legal arm, has fingers everywhere, funds opposition, directs media, creates civil society. Open Society Foundations, George Soros's organization, says open society, but open for whom? Open to what? Open to exploitation, open to intervention, open to manipulation. Ford Foundation, Rockefeller Foundation, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, all in Africa, doing aid. But what do they get in return? Control, data, influence. And your media is their trumpet. You headline, Gates is saving Africa. But you don't say, how many African children were paralyzed by Gates's vaccine trials? How many farmers committed suicide because of Monsanto seeds? You're masters at storytelling, but always the same story. White savior. Remember Live Aid? 1985. We Are the World, charity concert for Africa, millions raised. What came to Africa? Corruption increased, dependency increased. But it was a great story for you. Bob Geldof became a hero. Musicians looked conscientious. Viewers felt good about themselves. Africa remained hungry. Remember Kony 2012? Viral video. Stop Joseph Kony. 100 million views. Result? Kony is still free, but the video maker got rich. Invisible Children organization collected millions. What came to Uganda? American soldiers. And you present these as success stories. Angelina Jolie, Madonna, Bono, all Africa volunteers. They come, take photos, adopt children, leave. And you say, interest in Africa increased. What interest? Whose interest? Interest for what? Madonna adopted from Malawi. You made headlines. But 100 children die from malaria every day in Malawi. You didn't write that, because that news doesn't sell. Bono became Africa's spokesperson, raised billions with U2 concerts, but moved his company to Netherlands to avoid taxes. Money stolen from Africa also passes through Netherlands. Did you write about this? George Clooney campaigned for Darfur, said save Darfur. Result? Sudan split. Oil remained in South Sudan. South Sudan is now in civil war. Who's getting the oil? Take a guess. And you always present these as humanitarian aid. But these are imperialism's soft face. These are exploitation's PR. Let me give you real numbers. Every year, 134 billion in aid and investment comes to Africa. Every year, 192 billion in resources leave Africa, net loss, $58 billion every year. But you only write about the incoming $134 billion. You don't write about the outgoing $192 billion. Why? Because then people will ask, why does Africa need aid? Illicit financial flows, 88.6 billion year multinational corporations profit transfers, 48.2 billion year debt interest, 17 billion year brain drain cost, billion year climate change cost, 10.6 billion year illegal logging, 17 billion year illegal fishing, 1.3 billion year total, $192+ billion every year. This much resource leaves Africa every year. But what are your headlines? EU announces 20 billion euro aid package for Africa. China gives Africa $60 billion in credit. America grants Africa $8 billion. People read these and think how generous they are, how charitable, how ungrateful Africa is. But the truth is the opposite. Africa is financing your standard of living. Africa is subsidizing your prosperity. Africa is making your technology possible. The cobalt in your iPhone from Congo, the lithium in your Tesla from Zimbabwe, the tantalum in your computer from Rwanda, your jewelry from Botswana, your chocolate from Ivory Coast, your coffee from Ethiopia, your oil from Nigeria, your uranium from Niger. And what do we get in return? Debt, poverty, humiliation, but enough. This game will end now because we've awakened. Our youth are sharing the truth on social media. Bar France out hashtag used 100 million times. Africa is bleeding 50 million. On Stop Exploiting Africa, 75 million. And what are you doing? You say Russian bots. You say Chinese Americans. This is real anger. This is real awakening. There are millions of youth on TikTok, videos celebrating French soldiers leaving, images applauding Wagner's arrival, content explaining the truth on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. The same voice everywhere. Enough, and you're panicking because you're losing control. You're losing the narrative. You're losing the monopoly. You established fact-checking organizations. Africa Check, AFP Fact Check. Who funds these? Facebook, Google, Bill Gates, the same system again. What are you checking? Whose facts are you defending? We say France exploits $500 billion a year. You say false, only $440 billion. As if that changes the situation, as if 440 billion is little. We say Wagner has been successful. You say Wagner violates human rights. Well, what were French soldiers doing? Bombing Fulani villages, arming Dogon militias, accidentally striking weddings. Your hypocrisy is so obvious that no one believes you anymore. Remember what Anderson Cooper said on CNN? Democracy is declining in Africa. Which democracy, Anderson? Your democracy? America's democracy? Your Capitol riot, January 6, 2021. You said, attack on democracy. 5 people died. Our Sankara assassination, October 15, 1987. You said, internal matter. 1 person died, but that person was the hope of 20 million people. In your elections, corporations fund candidates, lobbyists write laws. You call our elections rigged. In your country, police kill blacks. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery. You lecture us about police violence. On BBC, Kasia Madera presents Africa News. Polish origin. How many years has she lived in Africa? How many African languages does she speak? But every day she speaks as an Africa expert. Africa is like this, Africa is like that. On France 24, cameramen, editors, producers,